When nature erupts, there's no warning, just raw, unstoppable force. These terrifying disasters were filmed in real time, capturing the precise moment Earth turned violent. With oceans retreating, mountains collapsing, and skies set ablaze, each event is a reminder. The ground beneath us is not still, and it never will be. The peaceful city of Alta sits above the Arctic Circle, where Norway's coastline hugs the icy waters of the Alta fjord. It's a stunning place, shaped by glaciers long gone. But hidden beneath its picturesque surface lies a sleeping killer: quick clay. Quick clay is a geological leftover from the Ice Age, formed when marine clay deposits settled under retreating glaciers. At first it's solid, but shake it just right, maybe a small tremor, perhaps too much water, and it liquefies into something closer to chocolate milk. On June 3rd, 2020, that's exactly what happened. A stretch of shoreline suddenly collapsed, caught on camera by a resident who heard the cracking earth and saw power lines snapping like twigs. You don't need an earthquake or a volcano, just the right mix of weight and water, and the earth lets go. Tucked deep in the French Alps, this rugged area has no ski patrol, no groomed trails, and no avalanche control. Why? Because the terrain is simply too wild. In March 2015, a group of friends were filming their ski run when they spotted a small plume of snow breaking loose far above them. That plume quickly turned into a towering wave of white, charging downhill like an angry beast. The roar of the avalanche swallowed their voices. The camera trembled as they scrambled to higher ground.
Ça, je filme. Ah non, c'est bon, vous inquiétez pas. Ah ouais, je filme, moi. C'est énorme. Wouah, putain.
The Alps sits where the African plate pushes against the Eurasian plate, creating jagged mountains and unstable slopes. Add snowpack layers, wind loading, and temperature shifts, and you've got the perfect setup for a slide. In March 2015, a group of friends were filming their That plume quickly turned into a towering wave of white, charging downhill like an angry beast. The roar of the avalanche swallowed their voices. The camera trembled as they scrambled to higher ground. Avalanches move up to 80 miles per hour, and in terrain like La Grave, there's nowhere to run. The mountains here were built by tectonic violence, and they still don't rest. 8. Hailstorm in Dickinson, North Dakota. The plains of North Dakota look calm, but under the right conditions, they become a battlefield between warm Gulf moisture and cold Canadian air. Dickinson sits right. In the crossfire, June 2016. A quiet evening turned violent when those opposing air masses collided, igniting a supercell thunderstorm. Hailstorms, a boundary where dry air from the Rockies meets humid plains air. That collision forces powerful updrafts, hurling hailstones upward where they grow larger with every cycle before covering layer of ice. What started as a drizzle ended in tens of millions in damage. In North Dakota, it's not the mountains you fear.
Oh, attention, attention.
It's the sky. 7. Mudslide in Grunier, Switzerland. Switzerland may be known for precision watches and snowy peaks, but it's also home to a destructive force born from steep terrain and saturated Grunier, located in the canton of Vaud. This region sits between the Rhone Valley and Lake Geneva, carved by glacial melt thousands of years ago. But when
Breathe, fall. Going all in. Oh, that's a good one.
The sinkhole grew to 34 acres and is still expanding. Over 350 people were forced to evacuate. This wasn't just a natural disaster, it was man-made. A geological warning from below: ignore the Earth's design and it will swallow you whole. California is no stranger to wildfires, but in 2018, it saw something new, a fire with the strength of a tornado. It happened in Shasta County during what was already a record-setting heat wave and drought. It created its own weather. This is what happens when topography, fuel load, and atmosphere align just right, and it's happening more often. The Earth isn't just heating up, it's becoming more volatile. Nepal sits at the heart of the Himalayas, where the Indian plate rams into the Eurasian plate, lifting the tallest mountains on Earth. But that same tectonic force builds up stress that eventually releases as massive earthquakes. On April 25, 2015, that stress snapped. A magnitude 7.8 earthquake struck near Kathmandu. Whiteout came with hurricane-force winds. 19 people died. It was the deadliest day in Everest's long, tragic climbing history. You can train for altitude. You can prepare for the cold. But when the mountain moves, nothing can stop it. It started deep beneath the sea. Off the west coast of Sumatra, the Indian plate was slipping beneath the Burma plate along a massive subduction zone. On December 26, 2004, that pressure was released. A 9.1 magnitude earthquake, the third most powerful ever recorded, ripped the seafloor upward by 50 feet over an area the size of California. That vertical displacement sent shockwaves through the ocean. In Thailand and Sri Lanka, footage shows curious beachgoers walking out onto strange, dry sand as the water mysteriously pulled back. Then minutes later came the real wave. It wasn't a splash, it was a wall. Some waves reached 100 feet high. The water didn't stop at the beach. It tore through streets, hotels, and homes. Over 230,000 lives were lost across 14 countries. The Indian Ocean has no central tsunami warning system. It does now, but only after the deadliest wake-up call imaginable. Russia's Chelyabinsk region sits along the Ural Mountains, far from any volcano or fault line. But on February 15, 2013, the disaster came from space. At 9:20 a.m., a chunk of rock 66 feet wide and weighing 13,000 tons tore into Earth's atmosphere at 40,000 miles per hour. It wasn't detected in time. Dozens of dash cams captured the glowing white fireball streaking across the sky. Then, silence. Moments later, boom. The meteor exploded mid-air with 30 times the energy of the Hiroshima bomb. Shockwaves shattered windows in 6 cities. Over 1,500 people were injured by flying glass. Office buildings rattled, factory walls crumbled. This wasn't fiction. This was cosmic roulette. And Chelyabinsk was the bullet. Northeast Japan sits atop the Pacific Ring of Fire, where the Pacific Plate subducts beneath the North American Plate. Pressure had been building offshore in the Japan Trench, a massive fault line that plunges deep beneath the Pacific. At 2:46 p.m. local time, it ruptured. A magnitude 9.0 earthquake rocked the entire country. Buildings swayed in Tokyo. Roads cracked open. But the oozing debris swept miles inland. Then came the third disaster. At the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear plant, the tsunami overwhelmed defenses. Cooling systems failed. Explosions rocked the facility. Radiation spread. Over 15,000 people died. Thousands more were displaced for years. Japan shifted physically. Some coastal regions moved 8 feet eastward. This wasn't just a disaster. It was a moment when the world held its breath and saw just how small we really are. These aren't video clips from a Hollywood movie. They're raw, real, and unfiltered footage of nature's rage and human helplessness. Subscribe to watch more such videos.